Luisa Piccarretta wrote, "He," meaning Jesus, "showed me two high stairways from earth up to heaven."
Yes, there are two paths you can go back.
Luisa proceeds to tell us that there are multiple paths to heaven. On one of the stairways to heaven, there were more people, very few on the other. The one on which there were only a few people was of solid gold.
There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold.
And it seemed that those few who were going up were as many other Jesuses. Each of them was one Jesus. So Luisa is describing here her own special stairway to heaven. And unsurprisingly, she imagines it is made of solid glittering gold. Interestingly, in this quote, she also alludes to her heresy that people can become gods. She says that these people are Jesus, not like Jesus, but in fact Jesus. Please refer to my last video on this playlist where we discussed how Pope John XXII earlier condemned this recycled heresy. Luisa continues, "The other stairway, on which there were more people, were almost all of them short and not very well developed." So this is the stairway to heaven that Luisa thinks is easier. But it's the route that all the great saints took. St. Peter, St. Paul, St. Benedict, St. John of the Cross, St. Teresa of Avila. Yet, Luisa mockingly calls these great saints as being short and not developed. What do you think? Is her arrogance beyond reprehension? Luisa continues to heap scorn upon the great saints of the Church by quoting an entity that she imagines was Jesus, but most certainly wasn't. On the wooden stairway there are more souls. These are the souls who walk along the way of virtues, yes, but not in union with my life, and the continuous connection of my will. Their actions are of wood, therefore their value is minimal. These souls are short, almost scrawny, because many human purposes are mixed in with their good actions, and human purposes produce no growth. Luisa criticizes the saints who walk along the way of virtues as being second-rate to her. Would Jesus say these terrible things about his great saints and disparage them in this way? Of course not. And how do we know with absolute certainty that Jesus never said any of Luisa's claptrap? Because the Catholic Church already told us that there is one path for justification. The Council of Trent describes the process in great detail. It is the path where souls advance in virtue, and this is the path to heaven that is disdained by Luisa. Having therefore been thus justified, and advancing from virtue to virtue, they are renewed, as the Apostle says, day by day, that is, by mortifying the members of their own flesh, and by presenting them as instruments of justice unto sanctification. They, through the observance of the commandments of God and of the Church, faith cooperating with good works, increase that justice which they have received through the grace of Christ, and are still further justified. As it is written, "He that is just, let him be justified still." And again, "Be not afraid to be justified even to death." And also, "Do you see that by works a man is justified, and not by faith only?" And this increase of justification, Holy Mother Church begs, when she prays, "Give unto us, O Lord, increase of faith, hope, and charity." Faith, hope, and charity, of course, are virtues. They are the theological virtues. Though Luisa's version of Jesus doesn't think much of them, the real Jesus, the one in the Bible, the one we know as Jesus, thinks very highly of them. Luisa's phony version of Jesus contradicts Scripture, which tells us that there is one path to heaven, not two stairways. The one path of the just departs from evil. He that keeps his soul keeps his way. Scripture adds, "Be not delighted in the paths of the wicked, but the path of the just as a shining light goes forward and increases even to perfect day." Like Luisa, the wicked have multiple paths, but the just have one. Jesus never talked about two stairways. However, he did warn us of false prophets, like Luisa Piccarretta. "How narrow is the gate, and strait is the way that leads to life, and few there are that find it. Beware of false prophets, who come to you in the clothing of sheep." And it's almost as if the writers of the Catholic Encyclopedia were anticipating the Luisa Piccarretta cult when they wrote, "Those who are willing to take the steep and narrow path toward his kingdom accept the testimonies to his divine mission with impartiality. Those who prefer an easier and broader way of life try to persuade themselves that the claims of Christ are unfounded." Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back again within a week with another one. But in the meantime, please check out my Facebook page and my Twitter page. Every day I post additional content that you won't find on this YouTube channel. And also, Please pray for the church.